Hey, what's up everybody? It's Isaac from Alchemy here with episode 15 of the Alchemy Devlog. In this episode, we're going to talk about cool new stuff like drag and drop in the initiative order. We've also got turn order in custom games. Very exciting. You can run combat over there much more smoothly. We've also got snap to hex for tactical mode with hex grids, both pointy and flat hex. We've also got roll table actions available. These are very rudimentary text-based roll table actions, but there's a million great uses for those. So that's where we're starting for that. And we've got a grab bag of other little fixes and small changes that I'll go into this episode. We've also got a bunch of questions to go through from you all. So I'll make sure to reserve some time for that here at the end of the episode and give you a sneak peek into what the team is working on next. Let's dive in. Let's kick things off with the initiative updates. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new 5th edition game here with the 5th edition system reference document universe enabled. So I've got those creatures ready to rock. I'm going to go ahead and invite my test account so I can get another player in here and create a character for him, Jeff. Jeff's going to be a dwarf cleric. And over in the NPCs list, let's add a few NPCs. We're going to go with the classics. Just some really easy monsters to encounter. And they come into the NPCs panel in the hidden state so that you don't surprise your players until you want to. So let's drag these guys up into the visible section here, which will also make them roll into initiative automatically. So let's take a look. As you know from 5th edition games, you flip this initiative switch to turn on initiative, and that starts playing your combat music and puts everybody in order based on their initiative rolls. And it looks like this game does not have automatic initiative enabled. So I'm actually going to switch over to my test account here, join the game, and roll initiative. That's the wrong game. That's the right game. There we go. Make sure this doesn't blast us out here. And let's roll initiative for Jeff. Cool. All right, back over on my GM, we've got everybody in combat now. You can move through the turn order just like you used to be able to, and always have been able to. You can just click the down arrow to move to the next person, the next combat participant here. And you can go back as you could before. What's new here is you'll notice this little drag handle here, and you can also just click and drag anywhere on here to move things around in the initiative order. So by default, they're sorted by their initiative rolls. But if for some reason you needed to change that, we can move Jeff up to be 3rd in the initiative order, and he'll stick to that spot. We could also move this guy up to be 2nd. He'll stick to that spot. So now when we move through, we have the turn order as we've defined it there. You can also take the current participant out of that position, or put them into that position so they could be the active participant in the encounter. So yeah, great way to rearrange things in combat when you need to, as well as give you ways to override those initiative rolls when necessary. And if you get something like a surprise badger, that will show up hidden by default, but you can always drag that into initiative too, and it's going to roll initiative. And wow, that was a great roll. A 1, but then you can move them around as needed. So if it just needs to be active for whatever reason, throw it up there and off you go. Drag and drop to your heart's content. Also, in exciting news related to initiative, we now have the ability to do initiative in custom games. So I'm going to create a new custom game here, and we're going to call it Cats of Anarchy. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. And let's leave it at that and start this custom game off. And here we go. Okay, over on the NPCs tab, I'm going to add a couple of custom characters here. We're going to add some good cat names. Garfield. I'll go with one of my cat's names. Rocket. And let's throw in one more. my other cat, Rukia. We'll move these into visible so they get rolled into initiative. And you'll notice in this custom game, we now have a turn order switch at the top. You can flip that on and wow, you've got a combat kind of initiative-y list. So your NPCs and your players just get thrown into a list, much like 5e, but it's a custom game here. There's no rules for who gets sorted where. So it's completely up to you to arrange them how you'd like them to be. So for example, if we wanted them to go Rocket first, then Rukia, then Garfield, we can drag and drop to rearrange them. And then as we move through the turn order, it sticks to exactly how we set it up. So now you can, number one, use combat music in custom games, non-5e games, any non-5e games. This is available in Pirate Borg as well, and will be available in all of our upcoming systems. So you can have that combat music play when you turn on the turn order, and then you can rearrange your encounter participants however you'd like to set up that combat. So, long requested feature. We are super stoked to have it out there, and we love the idea that you'll be able to run combat in other games a lot simpler. So that was custom turn order, super useful for combat. Here's another thing new this week that will be useful for certain types of combat, particularly naval combat and overland marches. For example, big old hex crawls. Yeah, that's right. Snap to hex is what I'm talking about. Let's pop open tactical mode. And of course, this scene doesn't have a hex grid enabled. So let's do that. First, we'll go over to the tactical tab and switch to hex flat. Now pop open tactical mode again. We've got our nice hex grid. Let's make that a little bit more visible here. And we will bring Garfield out onto the map. And you'll notice he's snapping to the hexes as I go to place him. And once he's placed, he will snap to those hexes as well. So a 1x1 token is going to snap to the nearest hex center, just like that. Larger tokens will snap slightly differently, and smaller tokens in particular will snap to the nearest corner or center. So I'll show you how that works here with Rocket. We'll make Rocket a smaller token. We'll make his token size 1/2 by 1/2 and place Rocket out here. So you'll see he snaps to the center if that's the nearest point. Otherwise, the nearest hex corner is where that snap point will be. So we'll drop him down and you'll see him snap to those corners or centers based on what is nearest. And Rukia, this is actually quite funny. She's the larger cat, so this is kind of perfect. We'll make Rukia a 2x2 token and drop her out there. And this will snap to the nearest corner for the larger tokens. So that's how that works for even-sized 2x2 and larger tokens. Snap to the corners. Otherwise, even-sized 1x1 and larger will snap to those centers. Hex snapping. If you don't want it to snap, of course, like always, just turn off the grid and you've got free movement. You can put them wherever you want. This setting only applies to you. This is not something that the GM can control. It's up to each person to decide whether they want to see the grid, and if they see the grid, it will snap to it. So that's how that works. Hope you enjoy that, especially for, like, naval combat, I guess. We've got more to come here eventually. I know there's stuff we need here for like Pirate Borg naval combat, for example, and even 5th edition naval combat. So more to do for tactical mode as always, but I hope you all enjoy this nice snappiness. All right, another new one this week is the roll table action. So if you go in and create an action, this is a GM action. It's the same on NPCs and on player characters as well. You now have an action type here called roll table. And the roll table action right now is simply a text-based roll table. It doesn't do anything super fancy. But you can give it a name, you can give it a description. Super exciting. And like any good roll table, you need a dice roll. So you need to give it whatever you need here. We're going to go for a D6. And if you were on like a player character and you wanted to add in an attribute or a skill or whatever, based on your system, you can do that. This is a custom game, so it's got these fields available up here. And then down on the roll table, you've just got a range for a result and then what the effect is. So today this is just text-based. You can put whatever text you want in here and go with that. You can add more rows to it. So we can add a result on a 5. We'll make it a range. So on a result of 5 to 6, we'll throw in something here. Fancy feast, cat food. Wow, really got cats on the brain today, apparently. Cool. Let's create that action and give it a couple rolls. Oh, cool. I rolled a 5 or a 6 here, so you can see that result. You get to eat Fancy Feast. But if we pop this open, you'll see what the die was. So it was a 5 in this case, and you see the description that you'd entered, or I entered, or, you enter. And you get to see the text from that here as well. We'll roll that a couple more times to see what else comes up. I spontaneously combust. Not good. Not good. So yeah, roll tables. We've got a lot more planned there, but we wanted to get a kind of rudimentary implementation of this out there because there's a bazillion things you can do with just a text-based roll table. And I mean, after all, this is a game of the imagination. So, use your imagination. One of the things we want to bring to this soon is the ability to drag and drop to reorder these. Right now, it's kind of like fixed. If you need to go back to change something, you can just, click and change it, or you can remove a row and then add another row. But if you needed to make drastic changes and you wanted to drag and drop to reorder them, that's coming eventually. I don't know when. It's not really on our near-term roadmap, but that is something that we know would definitely improve the usability here. So we also want to bring things like actions and other stuff into the mix here, so you could have a roll table that does another action or uses an ability or casts a spell, different things like that. So instead of the text, you cast Magic Missile, we could wire it in to actually cast Magic Missile. Some ideas like that are in the pipeline. We'll see when those become reality. But today, roll tables are here. And by the way, while we're looking at this, here's a little bonus change. Small grab bag of changes this week. Multi-line text fields like this one can now be resized. Yay for browser standards. You can just do that like you would in your fun browser of choice. They can be resized vertically. That's only for multi-line fields. That applies here to character sheets. Basically anywhere there's multi-line input, you can now resize them and use that to see more stuff. Pretty cool. All right, let's take a look at the marketplace real quick. We've got Heliana's Guide out now. Very exciting. That's such a huge module. Very cool one. But here's what I'm here to talk about. PDF downloads. So some of our marketplace items include the PDF of the book that you're buying in the purchase. So for example, Humblewood Tales, it includes the PDF, and you know that because it says it right here. It includes PDF. If you see this badge up in the top corner of one of the marketplace items, buying it for whatever the price is includes that PDF as well. So you get it to browse through in your PDF reader of choice. If you click into something and it doesn't show that badge, like for example, Heliana's, no PDF included. So that is your clue that you're getting a free PDF. Very cool. Let's talk about what's coming up next. Over here in the roadmap, we're pretty much done with drag and drop reordering for now. If there's anything we missed, let us know. We'll probably come back around to make it drag and drop reorderable, but with initiative out of the way, that one's pretty much done. We wrapped up Snap to Grid for hex grids this week. Upcoming for tactical mode, not super duper soon, but we have rulers coming up, and of course Fog of War. These are both features that we've slated for V1, and they'll be out there soon. We started on system support for Kids on Bikes 2E in the past week. We're most of the way through implementing custom sheets for Kids on Bikes 2E. And we will probably have some news for Kickstarter backers on how to start kind of beta testing that. If you would like to do that, stay tuned for more info on that. But we're also laying groundwork for a bunch of these other systems as well. So we are very, very deep into system support work right now. We've also got send to journal functionality, breaking ground on that this week. The ability to send things in your game, even universe articles, into the journal and have it show a card for the thing that you're trying to show. And then someone can click on that card and load the full universe article or load a preview of that item or that NPC or what have you. Very excited for that to bring a little bit of dynamic activity to games. And then we have a few other things that are coming up soon. Of course, the ability to play NPCs as a player for things like familiars. We've got more work to do on that, and we're going to be doing some work on spectator mode and streamer mode soon as well. And then sort of towards the end of our V1 sprint here, we're going to be doing a bunch of account management stuff. The ability to change your password while logged in, sending confirmation emails, self-service account deletion, that kind of, version 1 basics stuff. So more robust account management coming soon. All right, questions and answers time. Let's load up that universe. Okay, Max asks, will the One Ring RPG be supported at V1? A lot of games published by Free League are mentioned in the roadmaps and the public communication, but I couldn't find any mention of the One Ring at all. Does it have to do with IP? Yes, Max, it does 100% have to do with IP. The One Ring is off limits for us. The licensing for it is kind of outside of our control, of course. It's treated as a video game when it's on a VTT, and that's a completely different licensing structure that we don't have access to today, and I'm not sure if we ever will. So your best bet for the One Ring is to use our custom system and create your own sheets for that, create your own templates and actions for all the things that you need to do there. I know some community members have been working on things like that. So if you're on our Discord, start asking around and somebody will probably show you the way. But yeah, custom is going to be your friend there. One other note I should mention is that we will have other licensed Free League IPs like Alien and Blade Runner. Those are available to us. We didn't mention Alien very much because of like the Kickstarter side of things, but it is coming in V1. We'll have Alien available on our marketplace around the time of V1 launch. So Alien, huzzah. Okay, Aethrill asks, hey, any plans to add forced controls, especially in custom systems? The ability to start and stop the current music track, force players to switch to tactical or story mode, open a character sheet or token. Those would be great tools for the GM to make sure the story flows when it needs to. Tactical and story in 2 separate scenes is fine, except cameras reset and the few seconds required to fix it heavily disrupts intense scenes. So yeah, we've talked about this a few times, sort of like the visual novel style NPCs. We do want to bring something like that in where you can show an NPC to players and have it kind of pop up on the screen for them. We might also provide a way to show a handout to have that pop up, but there's a lot of disruption that can cause. For example, if someone's editing their character sheet and then you pop something up on top of it, that could be a bad time. So we don't have a lot of plans to add any sort of forced controls like that. We will do a few kind of light things, but nothing too heavy. And the camera resetting thing that you mentioned, I think that was just fixed in this last couple of weeks. So give that another shot. Your tactical mode, at least within the same scene, should stick to where you moved your camera, where you've panned the map to zoom and position. So if you move to another scene, that won't, but same scene, it should stick, at least while you're looking at it. All right, Aethrill has another question here. Since maps can handle webms, is there a possibility to get that functionality for tokens as well? I have no idea if the two are connected in any way. They kind of are. But it would be super immersive to have motion effects in the tactical layer combined with tokens to serve as set dressing. Yeah, so we, I said yes, definitely here. So yes, definitely asterisk, dagger, double dagger. You can kind of do this today. I think there's some rough edges in that flow that don't work as well as they should. But you can definitely make it happen. In fact, I'll probably give a demo of that to show kind of where things break down here in a second. But We have plans for adding stuff to tactical mode, like different set dressing, as you're mentioning, like tables, things like that. The ability to add things that are not player tokens to tactical mode, absolutely on our radar. Something we want to bring. It's not going to land in V1. We've got enough work to do just supporting all those systems to a level of completeness that we need to play them. But after we get through this V1 launch, we are definitely going to be adding a lot of really cool stuff to tactical mode, like the ability to drop little non-player, non-character tokens like campfires or chairs or tables or whatever, and move those around in your map as well for little props, and snap together different map pieces. Lots of cool ideas there. We're super excited to explore that post V1. For today, let's jump into that custom game that I've been using, Cats of Anarchy, and let's take a look at what happens when you use a webm for a token. So we're going to take Garfield. Maybe I should find a good Garfield webm. Should I do it? I'm going to do it. Wow. While I was looking for a Garfield webm, I found this incredible Garfield GIF. Less Mondays, more lasagna. Love it. Back to my webm search. All right, I've successfully acquired a Garfield webm, and let's see what happens when we use it. I'm going to go into Garfield. I'm going to select that. I'm going to go to my downloads folder, and here's garfield.webm. I'm going to open that webm and see what happens. Okay, so here's one of the rough edges that I knew was going to happen. You don't see the preview of that in the avatar up here at the top of the character sheet. You do see it bouncing as the header background there. Very cool. I'm going to go ahead and save this, pop open the tactical map, and look at that. Garfield's token is now an animated webm. So yeah, it's not showing in the NPCs panel. If this was a player, I don't think it would show in the party panel either. That's a thing we need to fix, but this is an animated token here, and it's moving around. This doesn't disable, this doesn't stop motion when you disable motion. I remember when I added stop motion to tactical maps, this was one thing that we didn't do then, because it's not really a supported flow at the moment. It does work, but it's kind of like by accident. So we do need to make it stop animating, so you can get those to stop. But yeah, for right now, you can put a webm in as the character art for an NPC or a player character. There are some rough edges that we'll need to clean up around that, but it'll work on tactical maps, just as you would expect. Using that for set dressing, I mean, sure, if you wanted them to be an NPC in your NPCs panel, but you just kind of ignored them, or didn't want to use them in turn order, it's a chair or whatever, animated chair, weird. Anyway, you can do it. That's how you do it, but it's kind of not supported that well. We'll fix it up eventually, make it a lot better. I'm sure we always do. Cool. All right, that's all the questions for this week. Thank you so much for sending those in. If you have your own question, you'll find a link to a Google form, or you can submit that down below in the description, and I'll go through it in a future episode. That's it for this episode of the Devlog. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, head on down below, click that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, all that jazz. Get those future updates loaded straight into your dome. It's a good time. Thanks for watching. Let's go play some games.